Hi, this is Abby from Witchcraft and Criminal History. How are you doing today? Good, I hope. This is part 2 for Elizabeth Bathory. Okay. In the previous video I gave you a little bit of history in regards to this Transylvanian Hungarian noblewoman. Alright, we're going to have a little bit of a discussion about her, and I'm going to discuss her crimes a bit and what she did. Things that she did, like one time she apparently tore someone's jaw apart. She likes to bite people if she was sick. When sometimes she was sick, she'll get some of her servants to bring up a peasant girl up to her room where she'll literally bite off flesh from the servant. So she would actually bite like Dracula. She would literally bite her victims. She was notorious at biting people. There's a lot of myths that are saying that she bathed with the blood of young virgins. There's nothing to really prove whether she did or didn't. It's highly unlikely that she did. And other theories that say that she could have been anemic and she was self-medicating by drinking the blood of young virgins. Because back in those days, you don't know, you couldn't tell if someone was anemic, and they didn't really know much about anemia at that particular time. So that was another aspect with Elizabeth Bathory. She was also sometimes would put some servants out in the middle of winter, completely naked, and would continuously throw cold water over them until they froze. And when they froze, they literally froze to the ground. They literally froze, like statues, literally froze. And that's a very slow and torturous way to kill people. And apparently her husband one time covered a servant in honey and left that person outside naked, covered in honey, so that person could be bitten by ants and wasps and bees all day, just for their entertainment. So that just really is ugh. And apparently another thing they used to do, would put little pieces of material between their toes and set it alight. So the types of torture they did is very graphic, very gory. And also they did impaling as well. So not nice people to cross back in those days. Okay, so that's what she pretty much did. And like I said, she killed over 600 people, all of which were women, as I said in part 1. Okay, let's have a little discussion in regards to this noblewoman. Alright, what do I think about Elizabeth Bathory? Do I think she's guilty or do I think she's innocent? From what I've learned about Elizabeth Bathory, she's guilty. And I know I'm probably going to get a whole heap of people, especially people who come from Hungary or Slovakia, come on here and say, yeah, but she built churches, she did this, she did that, she was a healer. These powerful men wanted her power. Back in her day, women didn't have power. And I'll go, yeah, I agree. Women didn't have power back in those days. It was rare for women to have power. But some women did. Like you had Elizabeth Bathory and you had Elizabeth I. And prior to Elizabeth I, you had the Bloody Mary. Or Mary Tudor. Or Mary I. So, women did rule and women did have power. And personally, I do not see the logic and I cannot understand why, if people were just after her land and wanted her land in both Hungary and Transylvania, why come up with such a ruse saying that she murdered over 600 people? Why? And also, when this came to light, Elizabeth Bathory was never charged for any of these murders. She was never charged and never faced one day in court. Not one. Her servants did. And apparently some of them got things shoved up under their nails, had their nails ripped off, and also were burnt alive. That would happen to her servants who helped her commit these crimes. But because she was a noble woman, they couldn't charge her. She was a noble woman. So what they did, they locked her in her room, never to see the light of day again, and they threw away the key. And she was in her room for 4 years before she died. And if you ask me, coming up before the trial, sending people in to investigate, and doing all this, and having this bit of document, and also what really hurt it, that back in those days, they actually burnt all the information. They destroyed the information about Elizabeth Bathory. They destroyed it. It was forbidden for 100 years anyone to even mention her name. It was forbidden. So we don't really know because they destroyed it, which is sad. But anyway, I think it's too much problems of them setting her up, saying that she did all these terrible things for no logical reason. And just exaggerating it. It doesn't make any sense to me. And the reason why that is that they could have got her lands through a lot easier way. A hell of a lot easier way. Easier, quicker, and it could look like a common disease such as cholera. Cholera, tuberculosis, malaria, or the plague. They could have easily disguised things. Right, as I said in the previous video in part 1, that I'm going to refer a lot to Elizabeth I. Okay. With Elizabeth I, Elizabeth ruled at the same time as Elizabeth Bathory. I wouldn't be put it past them that they actually did know each other. I'm not saying they did, but I wouldn't put it past them that they did. But Elizabeth I, Elizabeth Tudor, saw poison literally everywhere. She never ate anything without her servants trying it first. She saw poison everywhere because it was the same principle. People believed that a woman couldn't rule the throne of England. People couldn't rule her lands. So, but you can't just go along, charge Queen Elizabeth. You couldn't kill her in any other way. You had to be sneaky about it. What more sneaky than putting poison? And there were plots against Elizabeth I in regards to poison. To do it sneakily, to look like it was a disease. That she fell to disease. Why couldn't these noble people do the same thing with Elizabeth Bathory? If they wanted her lands so desperately, why didn't they come to one of her feasts, because she had a lot of parties, bribe someone in the kitchen staff and saying, hey, I've got some poison here, go and put it in some wine, or put it in some food, and make sure that goes to Elizabeth Bathory. And most poison, like for example arsenic, can easily be covered up and saying it's cholera. And saying that this person died of cholera. And no one would have thought anything different. It would have gone down the history books and that person died of cholera. But the truth is, they didn't die of cholera. And same as tuberculosis and that. There were poisons out there to cover up such things. So why didn't they? And the answer for that is, yes, they were after her land, but Elizabeth Bathory was a powerful woman. She was a powerful woman, and she was also one of their own. And she probably had a lot of respect, even though she was a woman, she was running all these military stuff, she was in charge. They still would have had had some sort of respect for her and didn't want to poison her. Why? I have no idea. And that's what my thoughts on it. I do believe she's guilty. Because, like I said, it's too much effort to go around blaming her for a bunch of crimes that were never ever committed. It's too much hassle. Too much waste of time. When it could be just quickly and easily done something and disguised as a natural death due to disease. It could have easily been done that way. Easily. But they didn't. Instead, she was, secretly tried and locked in a room for 4 years to her death. In a castle in Chesties. So in my opinion, she's guilty. But that's just my thoughts on it. What are your thoughts on Elizabeth Bathory? Do you believe that she's guilty? Or do you believe she's innocent? And if you believe she was innocent or guilty, please tell. I'd love to hear it. Hopefully you enjoyed this video and have a great day.